Next talk will be kind of touching upon another journey to a different digital direction. This will mostly be discussing, or partially be discussing, a mobile application that has also been awarded and was kind of briefly mentioned by Matthias, YLE Uutisvahti. So we have a speaker coming from a Finnish national broadcasting company, YLE, or YLE, if someone wants to have it that way. I think this is enough. We have the head of product for YLE Uutisvahti, Jarno Koponen. Please welcome to the stage.
Whoa, I'm so excited to be here today. First of all, I want to thank Helsinki Design Week and the organizers of this event, especially Lassi. Big hand for Lassi. Okay, let's start with the basics. Why should you listen to anything that I have to say in here today? Let me introduce myself. My name is Jarno Koponen. I'm a product lead at YLE, Finnish broadcasting company, like Lassi mentioned before. I'm responsible of leading the team that is building YLE's personalized news app called Uutisvahti, or Newswatch if you will. Please go and download yle.fi/Uutisvahti. You will get it in there. I've been working with digital products for the past 10 years and more. For the past 8 years, I've been focusing on personalization. How can you use algorithms and personal data to create meaningful personal experiences? I'm excited about that. Couple of words about my background. It's a kind of a dualistic. I'm both a designer and humanist. I want to understand how human mind works, and at the same time, I want to build products that are meaningful to everyone. Before joining YLE, I spent time in San Francisco and Silicon Valley with my startup, Random Futureful, which I co-founded, and I was also the chief creative officer there. We were building a predictive discovery experience. We used personal data and new adaptive interfaces to build an experience that actually breaks the filter bubble by combining relevance and serendipity. That excites me still. My work and our work was featured in various notable international publications, be it the New York Times, Vice Magazine, or Massapol, for example. And there is a technologist part in me as well. I'm deeply proud of co-writing a patent on predictive discovery that is today featured or referenced by the big ones, Google, Facebook, and Amazon. As you may have already noticed, I'm quite excited about this topic, enthusiastic about this topic, because I think that it will affect our lives deeply, even beyond what we can imagine at the moment. I've been writing expert articles on user experience, machine learning, artificial intelligence, and personal data to TechCrunch, for example, which some of you might know. Okay, that's me. Great meeting you all. I want to talk about truth. Who decides today what's truthful? Is it perhaps the leader of the free world? Or perhaps it's the Vladimir Putin of Russian Federation? Is it Julian and WikiLeaks that defines what's truth? Or an anonymous, almost untrackable internet user that defines the truth? Another crucial, important question for our times comes next. Who defines today What's news? Who defines today what's quality journalism? Any ideas? Is it Mark, who promises to give us more what we want? Or is it Sunder and Google, who promise to organize all the world's information, objectively, of course? Or is it Jack's Twitter? You know, the most powerful influences have a lot to say in Twitter these days. Or maybe it's Jeff Bezos of Amazon fame, the owner of the Washington Post. By the way, I realized one thing when I was preparing this story for you guys. There are no women in there. But that's another topic entirely. But let's keep this in mind. No women as the heads of these tech giants. Who else was missing? News media. Think about it for a moment. News media doesn't define today what's considered to be truthful. News media doesn't define today what's quality journalism or even what's news. Problem? I work at the YLE, you know, we are a news media house, right? News media didn't understand the power of search engines. It didn't pick up the social media. It wasn't the first to innovate in mobile. You know, the paywalls and this iPad magazines and innovation, right? Serving the human. Maybe not. Software ate the news media. That's that. Or is it actually? Why I am here today, maybe I have a more positive tone. Let's talk next about the future. This is something that we all know. Our mobile devices are becoming the window to reality that we live in. Social media is the place we find the content that we are interested in. Everyone competes on your attention. Attention economy, right? You know the word, I'm sure. Who gets your time? Now, where is this leading us? This is my take. Lock screen of your mobile device. It's becoming the new news feed. You can already consume the content directly on your lock screen. You can already like the tweets or react to Instagram things or send messages to your friend without opening the app. Underlined. Okay. Battle for the lock screen. That's a term coined by Nick Newman of Oxford Reuters Institute. But that's not all, folks. Lock screen will be the next algorithmically personalized surface. Right now, Apple and Google are both racing to building new features to the lock screen. I know it, I'm building stuff in there as well. And here comes an important point. When the lock screen is the new news feed, there will be a shift in power balance between the industry giants, that is, Google, Apple, Facebook. Google and Apple become gatekeepers. But actually, this is just a start. Right now, what is happening with the push notification on your lock screen, we are actually familiarized with a new user interface paradigm. That user interface paradigm means that the machines start to talk to us without us asking them to do so. You can forget, "Hi Siri," or "Hey Alexa," or whatever, because next time they will talk to you. We are getting familiarized. Push notifications are already ambiently coming into your lock screen. This is very, very interesting. And actually, this is something that will allow us to create new meaningful experiences. This kind of ambient communication, smart system taking the initiative in our interactions. Now, can this actually be a new beginning for the news media? A new way to tell stories, a new way to connect with people? I think so. But what does it mean? There were the tech giants in the beginning, and the leaders of the free world and others who are defining what gets seen or what we read or what we consider to be truthful. You know, the freedom of the speech and making the unheard voices to be heard, or expanding your viewpoint, or last, supporting democracy. Those are the values of news media, especially for us at YLE. Now, those values won't be realized if we don't do something, if we don't do something differently than before. And I hope that when we continue this journey together, we will get to the concreteness of what should be done and how it should be done. I think this is kind of a flat statement here, but I truly believe that the news media needs to build its own AI solutions based on their values, based on their parameters, actually ours. I talk on behalf of YLE here. But do we have a chance? You know, Google can just put like 50 postdocs to solve some personalization algorithm detail. What can a tiny YLE do in this kind of situation, or any news media? There is a chance. And it comes down to the very essence of news media. What do we know best? We know the content. We know the stories. We know how to create them. That's our specialty. No Google has that. No Facebook has that. No Apple has that. They are aggregators. We are building and creating the stories. That's our strength. Now, I think the best possible experiences are created when human and machine are brought together in a smart way. And the thing what news media should do is to use these new technologies. And just as a side note, I've heard that you have heard a lot today already about machine learning and AI and whatnot. But they can actually be used very efficiently to augment you and me, to augment the storytellers, that is the journalists, to augment the decision makers that are deciding that what kind of stories should be made in the first place. That is the newsroom there. Now, let's get more concrete, shall we? This is my approach this is an approach that is familiar to anyone who has been in a position that you are fighting against bigger ones, right? You don't follow the market, you don't be reactive, but actually you start to be proactive. You change the market. And how do you do that? Let's talk about YLE Uutisvahti or YLE Newswatch now. What is YLE Newswatch? What makes it special? What makes it something that can be used as a spearhead when we are designing and developing the new methods to bring human and machine intelligence together? First, some data. We have found the product market fit for the service. Actually, it was the fastest growing service of YLE in 2017, seeing 100% increase in daily active users and such amazing numbers. We have most engaged users when it comes to consuming news content. And the last thing is very, very important to YLE. We have a big proportion of people that are young that are using our service. People in Finland know puoli-ysin uutiset. You know, the median age for people that are actually watching those late nights or not that late night news, it's very, very high. So YLE needs to touch the hearts and minds of young people. And we created something that can be used to do that. This is our value proposition. The interesting news come to you. You don't go after them, they come to you automatically. They come to your lock screen. And the ideal is this. You go and download the app, you allow the notifications, and you are set to go. That easy. And we assure that you will get the news that matter to you. Here are examples of this kind of new approach, what we've been developing so far, by adding granularity to news alerts, i.e. the mini products that are appearing on your lock screen. And this is something that we've done together with our journalists and newsrooms. We have over 70% of our monthly active users that are allowing the news alerts for the big news situations. That's a huge number. And do people personalize? Do people use explicit signals to create a personalized experience for themselves? Actually, they do. We have 82% of our monthly active users that have changed their news preferences using these levers in our applications. So people are interested in what kind of news do they get. This is big. Even though the image should be even more interactive and more dramatic. But basically we are at Newswatch maybe the only news app at the moment that can serve you live video directly on your lock screen. Think about it, in tiny Finland that is. Amazing stuff. I'm so proud of the team. 41% of the devices that are having an active YLE Newswatch have allowed to use the location to serve news. We have a nearby news feature in our application, and people have been very, very interested in that. And that's a new way for us to connect with people in their own regions. And that's also a power that YLE has. We also have people covering the news in different parts of Finland. And this is my wrist here. Okay, it was an Apple event yesterday. I'm an Apple guy, admit it. But the personal surfaces, we have different kind of personal surfaces. This is quite personal to me. I can I can see the notification. I can follow the news directly on my wrist. This is Newswatch at the moment. Okay, so how do we become smarter? What's the way to do that? And before we go into the specifics, we need to talk seriously about personalization. First of all, this use case is very, very hard. News is hard. How can machines deal with unexpected news events? And it seems that they can't. Here is Alexis Madrigal quoted saying that machines are not up to the task of dealing with rare news events, unexpected news events. Even though Google and Facebook, they are pouring millions and millions of dollars to do that. Why is that? What do you think? Okay, how do we personalize news? There are 4 pivotal parameters at play. First, there is the breaking news. How do your system deal with the breaking news? Something unexpected happened, be it a terrorist attack or maybe something more positive. What about personal relevance? What does that mean? The things that you are interested in and maybe you don't even want to share with anyone, right? Just between you and the machine. Personal relevance, things subjectively interesting to you. Then there's social relevance. That means that things that you want to share, things that you want to use to build an image of yourself in social media, in social instances of the digital sphere. And the last one is the hardest one, actually. Serendipity. It causes you almost physical pain to come in touch with something that you didn't even maybe know that existed. Those 4 pivotal things need to be taken into account when you consider doing personalization. Actually, there's one thing missing in here on purpose. Anyone guess what it is? There is, I think the serendipity covers that one. The thing that is missing is business logic. You know, Google and Facebook, they are selling ads. That's their core business. Their core business is not to give you the most factual and relevant information in the fastest possible way. They are serving ads. They are trying to engage and make you engage with their services. That's their priority. We at YLE have a different priority. We want to serve the citizen. We want to serve factual, relevant content. And this sets us apart when it comes to this internet science of today. Okay, let's get even deeper in personalization. These are the 4 pivotal things. What else? How do you personalize? First, there is content. What? You have different mechanisms to do that. It's very important, but it's solvable, right? Then there is how. And how? Now that is a different case. How do you package the things that you are recommending to people? It makes a huge difference. User experience. Is it like a video to someone, or is it text to someone, or the same content can have many ways to be presented to a person. And then there is the context. For example, should you get different things on Monday morning than you get on Friday night? Or different things when you are in Helsinki or when you are in New York? These are the 3 important factors what you need to take into account when doing the personalization. Now, at YLE, Newswatch, this is what we've done so far. As I said earlier, we have done these editorial recommendations or notifications. We have done topic-based recommendations and notifications. We have done location-based notifications and recommendations. And now we are working on smart news notifications. Actually, I think that some of the stuff that I'm going to talk next is going to be a world premiere to something, so I'm excited to share with you guys today. So we start to use notifications as automatic recommendations. And that's not the most important part in here. We want to learn directly on your lock screen by using those recommendations. We will first use, for example, your reading history to make sure you get relevant and interesting stuff, but you don't anymore need to necessarily open the app in order for the YLE Newswatch to learn. Now, what kind of user experience one should have when one tries to do something like this for a news app? Actually, this was a late night breakthrough. We had all the little things on the table already. And we decided that, hey, let's bring a digital smart news assistant to the existing YLE Newswatch. A kind of an independent entity that lives in there. It's not a chatbot, by the way, but it's something that lives on your lock screen, and you can tell it directly if you think that the content you get recommended is interesting or not. A new interactive way to recommend you news media content. And this is what we hope for, that it would be something that learns from you and with you all the time. And the future vision is that this Voitto smart news assistant, Voitto is victory in English, that it will become immaterial. It's not just in the YLE Newswatch, but it moves to different environments based on the environments that you use yourself. And we try to be so simple when it comes to the user experience. And we are learning all the time. It's not ready. We have launched Voitto Smart News Assistant now to our beta users. We have approximately 1,600 people using it. It wasn't on by default, but people needed to put it on. 85% of people that have put Voitto on have kept it on. So people have been happy with Voitto and Voitto's recommendations. It's not ready yet, but we are working on it. And this is a big thing now for myself. How do you create KPIs for these different parts of development? How can you understand what should be the guiding KPI for content? What should be the guiding KPI for AI development? And what should be the guiding KPI for user experience? Now, the important thing in here is that you need to have these different KPIs. We have already learned some concrete examples. For example, what should be Voitto's tone of voice in an unexpected news situation? Say something horrible has happened. Be it like, hi, I'm Voitto, here's a news recommended for you. Maybe not. Or when it comes to the model development, we are doing A to B testing with our recommendation models, both offline and online. And we are trying to figure out how to combine the KPIs of these models to the KPIs of the user experience development. We have some very interesting hypotheses currently. And then there is the factor of content as well. Should Voitto, for example, give text to one person and maybe audio to another person? How do we figure that out? And it needs to start by creating comprehensible and meaningful KPIs for these different areas and to bring them together. And this is something I want to mention. And also I think there is audience, one of the members of the YLE Newswatch team that has been doing lately qualitative research. This is our way to combine the understanding of these data-driven methods to the understanding of human mind. I want to end up with one last question. I've talked about very concrete things when it comes to developing or augmenting the user citizen. But this is what we are trying to figure out. What's the KPI for truth? Now, it's been an honor. Thank you.